Well, we've seen how easy it is to add effects to our video events, but there will be occasions, I'm sure, where you want to add some photography to your finished movie, and if you do, well, you might not have access to a program such as Adobe's Photoshop, which does of course allow you to tidy up your photographs in terms of cropping them or increasing the contrast or the brightness or a million other things that you can do within Photoshop to help improve the clarity of your photograph. Well, in this tutorial, I'm going to look at using effects with our photographs, and rather than using a program such as Photoshop prior to bringing the photographs in, I'm going to use the video effects that come with Vegas Pro 12 and use these effects on our photographs directly from our timeline. So, to get started, let's bring some photographs in. Here in my Project Media panel, I'll left click on this photograph and drag it over to my trimmer window so that I can preview it and make sure that it's suitable for what I want. Well, it is. I'm going to use this one. So as a result, I'll left click here again and drag it down onto my timeline. I'll move down to the next photograph and drag this across to my trimmer. Okay, here's the drummer. I'll use this as well, so I'll left click and drag this onto my timeline as well. Now my next photograph down is already processed. As you can see, it's in black and white. So I'm not going to use this one for this example. And indeed for my fourth photograph, well, that's in black and white too. So once again, I don't want to use this one. However, my next one, well, as you can see, it's another color photograph of the drummer. So I'll drag this onto our timeline. Let me check the next one. This one of Josh playing guitar is black and white. However, this one's okay of Zach and Josh. This one's in color, so I'll drag this to our timeline as well. Alternatively, even though I am dragging these to our timeline, remember you can double click. So with this one as well, this one of Josh, well, I'll double click on here and that immediately gets sent to our timeline. Okay, that's just another quick way of doing it. But I do want you to notice something. I'm going to drag this into our trimmer window as well. And do you notice something? The photograph, the original photograph here in our trimmer window, doesn't look the same as it does in the main output monitor. So, something must be applied already. Well, that is true. You'll remember in a previous tutorial how I added the Magic Bullet Lux filter to our videos on this particular track. Well, I've left it in place so that you can see that I don't need to add an effect to every single individual photograph if I simply want to use the same effect right across every event, in our case, these photographs, every event on that particular track. I'll remove it in a moment. I just wanted to show you how this works. Just before I do, I'm going to click on this lightning bolt up here, and that removes all the previews from our trimmer view here. And in actual fact, I'll close down our trimmer window. I'll click on the cross here. I don't need it for the moment. And I'll left click here and drag to the left to enlarge our view. Right, getting back to what I said a few moments ago, as you can see, an effect has been applied to this photograph already, but not to this individual photograph. If I move my CTI across our timeline, then you can see with our drummer photograph here, then this has got the same effect applied to it as well. Of course, moving along to our third photograph, well, you can see the same effect applied, and right across to photograph 4 and photograph 5. Now, applying a filter to the whole track, so any event on it, as we have here with these photographs, applying the filter right across the track is very useful to create this uniform feel to all of your photographs. However, this might not be what you want. You might want to individualize with a different effect each of your photographs. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to remove this Red Giant Magic Bullet Lux filter. So by clicking on here, I now see the Magic Bullet Lux filter here in our video track effects. Okay, so as good as this Red Giant plugin is, Red Giant being the name of the company who makes Magic Bullet Lux, as good as this filter is, I'm going to leave it, I think, purely for the videos rather than for the photographs. So I'm going to remove it. Now it's just slightly off screen, so let me drag it into the left. Okay, and of course by now you remember how we do this. Click on here to remove this Magic Bullet Lux filter. Okay, now we're back to where we started with our original photographs without any effects applied. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause our recording so I can tidy up our screen a little bit so that we can maximize what we see at this resolution.